Hello, welcome back to the Outward Reddit. We are having some fun today. The quest guide will be continuing on Friday. I decided to cut Street Fighter for this week because I just want to do questing stuff, and it's going to be not necessarily a super long series, but it does take time to record and edit and get everything sorted properly, and it flows decently, as well as if I have to do retakes with voiceover and stuff like that. So there's sort of a lot that goes on with it, but for now I wanted to have a little bit of fun and take a break from actually playing Outward and just talk about the community, see what people are saying, and maybe learn some new stuff. Whoa, my man got all the achievements on Outward on console. Is the DLC really not on console yet? I haven't really been keeping up with the Twitter or when the releases is going to be, but wow, I can't believe it's actually not on console yet. Then again, like I said, I haven't kept up with anything, but this is impressive. I don't even have all the achievements on console, which is kind of sad because I've been playing the game since day one, so I'm kind of a shitter. This guy says he needs some caldera in his life. Man, you won't be saying that until you fight one of those giant furries, and then you're gonna realize, yeah, I just kind of want to go back to Enmerkar Forest where everything makes sense. Any reason why rugs are like this or like this? This is such a weird observation and something that I've never given a shit about and noticed. Granted, I've only remembered this rug and I've never actually looked at any other rugs, but if they all actually look like this is sort of better than it just being a flat surface, because then it gives texture that people are walking through it, and it sort of gives more of a vibe that it is a lively place and not some setting piece. Granted, this is supposed to be a throne room, and you know, Queenie over here is supposed to be well kept and whatnot, but her carpets are less eloquent, if I do say so myself. Also, nice hat, by the way, dude. My man here says, because you drag your feet, you Neanderthal. But he spelled feet wrong. What weapons should I try to get? I'm in Levant with the Mantis Great Pick, and it's serving me well, but seems to be a little underpowered for tougher enemies among the desert. I'm going for basically only melee builds, so I guess weapons that tend to be more of my playstyle. I'm down fully for a shield and a one-hand build, or even two-handed weapons. Another area of help would be what trainers I could use my breakthroughs on if going for a melee build. I'd appreciate tips in this area. This one is actually a very good question because there's a lot of melee weapons in this game, and I feel melee has more of a presence than sort of the mages, because there's only so much you can do. Like, you're either playing the Hex Mage where you're just applying all the rainbow effects with the enchants and stuff, and then you're doing massive amounts of damage, or you're doing a runic build, which just you're casting all sorts of signs in the air and you're doing lightning damage consistently along with ethereal damage with the mind trap. So there's those builds. Or you have my personal favorite, sigil mode, which requires a lot of setup, but it's worth it because it's fun. There's obviously a little bit more to those mage builds, and there's a lot more, but I'd say melee, there's tank, there's rogue, there's sort of a brawler boxing style, you have spears, there's more melee weapons which give variety and flavor to your style, so there's quite a bit to choose from. My personal favorite at the moment is the one that I'm using for my quest guides, which is I think it's a halberd, not a spear. It looks like a spear, but it's a halberd, and it's really fun because it has incredible range, good damage, not to mention it also has ethereal damage. But if you're in Levant with the Mantis Great Pick, I mean, you're not really gonna need a lot more than that, to be completely fair. But I would recommend killing the Royal Manicore if you haven't done so. Gotta be honest, I don't really remember the Mantis Great Pick. What is the damage? 34 damage? Yeah, I would say probably go with the Star Child's Claymore. It's pretty easy to kill the Royal Manicore. I say that, and somebody's gonna get mad at me. He's like, I can't do it. If I can do it naked with 40 traps, you can do it the same way, okay? Stop, don't. I'm not here to baby you, okay? But I mean, this is not bad. Like, this is not a bad weapon by any degree, but the Star Child's Claymore will give you that elemental damage. I think it's 25 physical and then 25 lightning, and I don't remember the rest of the stats, but like I said, if you've been using this, you'll feel pretty comfortable with the Star Child's Claymore. Not to mention, it is faster than this by quite a bit, and I think it'll feel better for you, in my personal opinion. Also, this weapon right here, the World Edge Great Axe, this is one of my personal favorites and one of the oldest weapons that I've used in this entire game. that is still very good to this day. Yes, it's been nerfed, but it is still a phenomenal weapon, and I would still classify it better than the Mantis Axe anyway. Plus, that 1.1 attack speed just, oh god, I love this weapon. Not to mention, these special attacks are absolutely phenomenal and do a stupid amount of damage. Plus, they come out incredibly fast. Yes, they eat your stamina like a fat guy in Thanksgiving, but is it so worth it whenever you do so much damage? You've got one reply: get a great axe. They are very powerful, or fist. They are very fun. I would not recommend fist. I would not recommend this. If you are not comfortable with chaining combos together, and if you don't have like speedster stuff, fist can be kind of underwhelming. Not my favorite, I gotta be honest. It takes a while to get used to them. So I bought the game when it first came out on Xbox, played for like 100 hours, then stopped. I don't remember if I beat the game or not. Flash forward a few years. When did this game come out? What the hell? I had no interest in magic, so I didn't get mana. Since then, I just explore and loot every dungeon. So far, I just finished the first map, knowing I can't bring everything with me to the next map. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so essentially, this guy's having struggles right here. So after reading pretty much everything, this guy's asking, am I missing out on quests by doing this? Will I need to go back? Will there be fast travel? God, man, there's a lot here, which I think is just, this is one of those players that needs direction, and it's good and bad, because Outward doesn't hold your hand and give you much direction, but it gives you enough to know where you need to be. But he's also having issues with the storage of just backpacks and whatnot, and I struggle with that all the time. How many times have you guys seen me do a suffer walk all the way back to a city? A million. That's why, because I'm a hoarder. No enemies are a challenge with the Amylite armor. Bullshit, bro, you're cheating. Dragon shield, gold lich sword, and basic traps. Alright, never mind, you're right. If I see an enemy that looks powerful, I just set up 20 traps and poof, he's dead. Yeah, okay, I'm starting to see the issue here. I think this guy kind of sums up my point in this general discussion. So he says, it's up to you how you play and how you want to have fun. I don't personally like trapping every enemy because it makes it easy, and it's definitely a way to play. So this is why Outward is really good, because it gives players a way to beat the game, so that way they don't feel like they are constantly being tortured like in Dark Souls, which is a good and bad thing. Dark Souls rewards with a pretty much not necessarily forced play style, but no matter how you play, it's typically going to be hard, and dodging and mastering the dodge and even the parry is very rewarding. So there's mechanics that reward you, whereas in Outward, there's a way to beat every single enemy, and that is via traps. I've said this time and time again. Traps are broken. They just are. And even outside of traps, certain weapons are incredibly broken. Certain builds are broken. Certain armor pieces are broken. There's just many varying breaking parts of Outward that kind of, I don't want to say ruin the game, but if you want to challenge yourself, Outward gives you that option where you can set goals or set ways for you to play the game in a fun way. And this is one of those times where freedom is your friend and your enemy. There was something I referenced a while back. I think it was Game Maker's Toolkit, where I think it was Sid Meier that was saying that it's our job as developers to ensure the player, what did he say? I can't remember the quote. I'll put the quote here.
One of the responsibilities I think we have as designers is to protect the player from themselves.
But essentially his statement was just he's trying to protect players from themselves, meaning making dumb decisions that either ruin the experience or play the game how they're not supposed to be, i.e. glitches, bugs, cheating methods, stuff like that. These are all things that are in place to defend you from yourself from making bad decisions. Outward does not do that at all. There's many ways you can break this game, whether it be through in-game mechanics or just sitting in debug mode and spawning everything in and getting all the, passives and abilities and whatnot. There's so many ways to break Outward, and like I said, this is a good and bad thing. I like having the options to do so because it makes my job easier as a YouTuber, because I can, pump out builds left and right without having to go through every single story and try and nitpick what I want to do and then recreate a character and redo it. It allows me to pump out content consistently for you guys, and accurate content, and I can test things and then redo it over and over and over again. But for legitimate players that don't do that or don't wish to do that, you have to, do more complicated things. which means, you know, traps and using builds that really are overpowered. So let's say you have a, you know, sort of attraction to using fist weapons. Well, those are fun, but they are also quite difficult to use in certain situations, especially on heavy AoE bosses that really just annoy the shit out of you. But this problem right here, where you say, I just set up 20 traps and poof, he's dead. This is a you problem. You're choosing to do this. You're making the game easier for yourself. I'm not knocking you for doing this, and in fact, I've done this many times. I've already referenced me killing the Royal Manicore with I think 45 traps and basically no autos whatsoever. I didn't even attack it once. But the point being is I chose to do that. I made my playstyle that, and it was just for a video that was interesting and funny. But you do not have to do this. If you want to make the game harder, you can do so. This is a really good statement too. If you're enjoying yourself, then you're playing correctly. That is ultimately the goal, is enjoyment. It is a single player game, so balance doesn't really matter in my opinion. Obviously certain things should be patched, like the cleansing the exalted buff or the debuff where you get life drain. That is a really game breaking bug because it's not meant to be that way. You basically take the panacea, I don't know what it's called, it's a potion, but it cleanses everything, and I don't think it's meant to cleanse life drain, and I'm pretty sure it's an oversight from 9dots, but either which way, that should be bug fixed because it's not meant to be that way. However, it is fun to have a permanent exalted buff that absolutely gives you a huge boost to performance without having to sacrifice anything, so I'm gonna dread the day that gets patched, but either which way, you get the point. But more seriously, the game is pretty open-ended. There's not too much pressure for you to do quest lines. I love that. So sometimes it can feel like, well, what now? And this is what I said, where he's one of those players that needs a bit of direction. It's like playing The Witcher or No Man's Sky. You have all these options, and No Man's Sky a bit more of a confusing game, but The Witcher, for example, you have so much freedom in that game as well, where you can do a lot of side quests, go monster hunting, do all this other stuff, and you're like, well, what do I want to do? What does the game want me to do when it's not really like that? The question comes down to, what do you want to do? When I load up Outward, my main question is, what is the plan for today? Because Outward is sort of my job, so what is on the agenda? What are you guys looking for? That's typically the question that I ask. Whereas from a personal standpoint, if I was playing not for you guys, but for myself, the question would be, what do I want to do today? Do I want to build, you know, melee? Do I want to do a mage build? Do I want to go complete a quest line? Do I need to unlock something? Just what do I want to do? Then once I figure out what I want to do, how do I want to go about it? Is it something that requires urgency, that I need to complete a build? If so, do I want to go about it the appropriate way, where it's sort of difficult, gives me a good bit of a challenge and it's fun? Or do I want to go about it in the cheesiest way possible, where I don't care if it's difficult, I just want to get it done and over with? It's just a matter of thinking about what you want to do in Outward. It's a very free, open game, so trying to overcomplicate it with objectives and quests would ruin Outward, in my opinion. What's up with giants and hollow prosthetic arms? I've actually never noticed this. What the fuck? What? Wait, do they all have this? Is this a thing? Do they literally all have these arms? I never actually noticed. Does he have another one? Nope, this is a real hand, at least it looks like it anyway. But I never noticed they had prosthetic arms. Been playing the game for like a year now, by the way. Oh, here we go, baby. We got ourselves a discussion. What is your favorite city from the base game? That is easy. Yes, I didn't include the DLCs, and I'm curious. I feel like I'm biased towards Levant because it's the city I chose as my first faction. Technically sound second, but I deleted that character before I got too far into the questline, and for the record, I didn't include the DLCs because not everyone has them. I didn't even know about the Three Brothers DLC until today. Damn, bro, you living under a rock. Easily Monsoon, like 1000%, bro. It's Monsoon, 1000%. Listen, let me explain myself before everybody yells at me, okay? Levant, boring. It is a desert. It is an absolute desert. There's hardly anything there. The dungeons are dark, annoying, and just absolutely boring. They have no substance, nothing. Levant sucks. The best one would be Old Levant, because there you get Zagus, the Saw, the pearlescent armor. There's a lot going on in there. Best one in Levant. Everything else sucks. Cierzo, what you have troglodytes and a mountain. Like, what? Vendavel, I guess Vendavel. That is your first sort of ready check to see if you can get down to combat. But outside of that, there's really nothing in Cierzo. There's also a weird hyena cave. I don't even know what the purpose of that is. I've been there like once in my year of playing Outward, and it sucks. And Enmerkar Forest, let me explain, okay? It's a tough one because Monsoon and Enmerkar are both up there in my opinion. I would almost say they're equal. But my problem with Enmerkar is that it's too cheesy. It practically holds your hand. You can basically beat the entire game by utilizing Enmerkar. That is absurd. Although I will give to its credit, it has some of the hardest bosses in there. Royal Manicore. Ain't no joke whenever you first get there with your low level armor. It's no joke. It will seriously mess you up. The Royal Manicore cave is pretty tough as well, but it also holds some secrets, so it's nice. I think the Hive is also a really nice addition as well. This is why Enmerkar is second, because it houses a lot of unique items and enemies in there that you start to really feel like you're progressing into the game. However, Monsoon, aka the Hollowed Marsh, this is the real test. This is the difficulty. If you can live here, you can live anywhere. Two of the absolute most rage-inducing bosses live here. And I know it's been a year, people know how to beat them effectively now, but when this game first came out, it was hell. I don't know if you guys remember me trying to fight the Jade Lich, and I screamed. I was screaming.
I should learn by... I'm done. How do you expect me to beat that? Huh? What is that? I just walked. How do you kill a man for walking?
Hollowed Marsh is incredibly fun. There's a lot of creatures there that will absolutely destroy you. The alpha Tyrannosaurs, the weird upgraded armored hyenas, giants, the two bosses that will absolutely destroy your confidence in your build. The story is actually not bad either, honestly, and also just the atmosphere. It is incredibly depressing, but also beautiful at the same time. Just Hollowed Marsh, 1000%. I think that's where we're going to end it today, boys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. It was a bit of a lengthy one, but I had a lot to say and we were hanging out, but that's going to be it. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.